You're listening to the Bored to Death Bingecast, talking TV shows and movies in easily digestible chunks. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, and other assorted gender assignations. Welcome back to the Bored to Death Bingecast. I am Jay, being joined by
Sam.
I love when you start as I have an ice cream ball in my mouth. It's good. That's great. This is Zeke.
Yeah, and we are back to continue our weekly series on The Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Disney+. The Peanut Gallery will be joining us later. May not have anything to add, but so...
It's kind of funny. My name's the Peanut Guy, but she never adds anything.
Sometimes she does.
When it does, it's literally the Peanut Gallery.
This is true.
So... This is like, from what I read online, the series is actually taking place like some 6 months or so after the Blip. So
Okay.
That gives us a little bit of a timeline on all this.
Before Homecoming?
Homecoming was...
Not Homecoming, Far From Home.
Far From Home was like several months later. I think it was like towards the end of the school year. Because at the end of Endgame, we saw them going back to school, kind of thing. And so Falcon is doing like contract work for the Air Force, mostly just the same sort of stuff he'd been doing for the military before he left, before Civil War.
They must have kept the story between him and Ant-Man secretly.
Maybe. I mean, you know that Sam Wilson reported that all to the rest of the Avengers because, you know, it was still a breach of the Avengers compound because they clearly knew who he was and everything. But at any rate, although he'd been essentially bequeathed Cap's shield and more or less told to take up the mantle of Captain America, he was like, no, those are shoes that are way too big for me to fill, so I'm going to just donate this to the Smithsonian so they can put it in Cap's exhibit. And then the Department of Defense is just sort of like, yeah, about that. We're just going to take that shield back.
Why did you remind me of that face?
Hashtag
so
not my Cap.
Not my face.
not the face.
Not the face. Not the face.
Yeah, Captain Squarejaw is just not sitting well with anybody here.
Captain Up.
Captain Up, yeah.
What was the old man's name?
Yeah, what was his name? God dang it.
That's why I keep thinking Captain Up, because seriously, he looks like the old guy.
That's what's up, Captain?
Yeah, what's up, Captain?
What's up, Cap?
On your top.
What?
On your top, remember on your left? On your left?
Yeah.
On your top.
Eyes up.
Yes, eyes up.
Carl Fredrickson. That was the old man's name.
Captain Carl.
Captain Carl, yeah.
That's how they steal your brand.
Captain
Knocked
Carl.
out Captain Crunch.
Yeah, that you would get at like Walmart or something. Not even Walmart. It would be like some local chain. Yeah. Kroger. There you go. Not that we're saying that Kroger is like a small local chain, but you get what we're saying.
Aldi, Lidl,
Tesco. No, wait, that's still more UK than anything.
Is Tesco a gas station? It sounds like a gas station.
That's where Brett used to work.
Yeah, that's right. Tesco is more of a gas station than anything.
It was kind of like a...
But I think they have like a convenience store thing.
I think they're owned by Walmart. A subsidiary.
Walmart owns way more than we realize.
Anyway,
but while that's all going on with, and as all that is going on, we also have Sam Wilson's sister is on the verge of losing their house, and so she wants to sell their parents' old fishing boat to help pay off the debts that they've gotten, and we walked straight into institutionalized racism, essentially, because they were like, "Yeah, we can't give you the loan that you're looking for. Sorry." And yeah, very uncomfortable moment with Mr. Selfie at the bank.
Not just one selfie. He had to go for two.
He got the one.
He got the one, and then he asked for a second one after he rejected them. And it was just like, what did you think was going to happen?
Can I see you with your depressed soul hanging out just a little bit?
Speaking of depressed souls, let's talk about Bucky.
No, that's not depressed. That's personal hell.
He's putting himself through a personal hell.
That's why I said personal hell.
And you can tell he's depressed about it. Because he's, he's having dreams where he's reliving his memories of the things that he did as the Winter Soldier, and he's trying to make amends, but it's not easy, and the trauma button keeps getting hit on him all the time. Like he wants to.
Sounds like Zeke over there hit the trauma button.
It was a bomb.
Yeah, he wants to inform this neighbor of his about how his son died. It was like, yeah, it was my fault, but he's just sort of like, I'm friends with this guy. It's gonna ruin our relationship if I tell him.
Sent me out on a date where the date kept hitting the fucking nerve
without even realizing she was doing
his son.
It's
nice
just
that he has someone around, because he hasn't been the same since his son, where he died, and nobody knows why.
Yeah, and
senseless killing.
So
and he's like, yeah, I've got to take this and go. What?
He's literally just like, I gotta go. I have to go water my cat or something.
I would love to make that excuse now. I want to make that happen now. I gotta go water my cat. What?
I have a friend's cat I gotta go water. Bye.
I have to go iron my cat.
Iron cat? They actually have a cat.
I'm sure there probably
There
is
is
one.
one.
I mean, you have Spider Pig. Why wouldn't there be Iron Cat somewhere?
Spider Ham, sir.
Yeah, that's what he said. Spider Ham, not Spider Pig. I'm confusing Spider Ham with the Simpsons joke from
and
the
I'm
movie.
like, what are we, DC? I was like, oh wait, never mind. If it was DC, everyone would have a pet equivalent.
Yeah. Crypto.
And those were actually
Ace the Bat Dog.
those were actually canon.
Yeah, I know.
The Spider Ham and all them are in a self-contained universe of all other superpowered, in a sense, animals.
Iron Mouse.
But so yeah, and in the background of all this, there's a new terrorist organization rising to power called the Flag Smashers that basically want to do away with all nationalism and get rid of all borders and everything, but they're willing to use force to do it. And they're using AR tags on buildings to set up where their flash mobs are going to meet up for whatever. And they have superpowered individuals in their organization. At least one. Yeah, the main Flag Smasher we saw in episode 1 was able to land just flat on his feet after jumping out of a second-story window without having to bend his knees or do the superhero landing. And he super kicked a guy into a light pole.
I want to know if he has the same powers as the first guy from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
The first guy?
So during the first episode, they were chasing a gentleman who had superpowers out of fire who saved people. And he just did the exact same thing. He just jumped down and landed without being opposed.
Well, I think if he had fire powers like Scorcher, I think you're talking about Scorch.
No, this was one or two guys that kind of showed off and explained, "Hey, people with powers are here."
It's been a while since I've seen the first season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so I couldn't say for certain. What? Oh, sorry. Sam sort of distracted me because he was pointing out the cat
tail.
That our cat is the
the
binge cat is.
No, it's an outside.
Oh,
cat.
an outside cat is in the.
fence.
Okay,
What?
so we're getting to we'll just sort of wrap this up right here.
You ran off to the other side.
Anyway,
let's wrap it up and get into the show.
we'll wrap it up and get into the show. Chris isn't here, obviously. He's got work. We'll have him in on a future episode so we can get his thoughts on episodes that he has missed. But so that wraps up this intro, and we will see you after the binge.
While the binge is happening, thanks for listening to our podcast. Please give us a like and subscribe and spread the word. You can reach us on social media on Facebook or Twitter at BTD_Bingecast. The Bored to Death Clan is part of the CKCC Radio podcast family, including J Bunny's Music Hub, the Race Nerd Podcast, Real Paranormal Talk, Ranking Tracks, Motivational Moves, Girls Who Like, and The Nerd Table. Please consider supporting CKCC Radio on Patreon. And now, the binge is done, so let's get to the discussion.
And we're back. So,
And Cap is back.
hashtag not my Cap.
About the face!
Captain Carl. Yeah, so we did get confirmation this episode that is John Walker. They introduced a couple of other characters from Marvel Comics into here, or at least hinted at them. We got confirmation that the leader of the Flag Smashers is Carly Morgenthau, who in the comics was a guy, but here is a woman, and yeah, she has been given a super soldier serum or something, and so have many other people in the Flag Smashers, because there's a fight scene on top of a couple of semi trucks, and yeah, they all basically have super strength.
Vibranium beats everything.
Except it didn't.
It didn't break under the pressure.
No, but it didn't help them win the fight.
It didn't. I didn't say he run. I said beats. He couldn't break it. They could not break his arm.
Yeah, this is true.
They tried.
And we also were introduced to Lamar Hoskins, who is Battlestar in the comics. Apparently that is his call sign here in Falcon and Winter Soldier as well. But the second he introduced himself and dropped his call sign, it's just like, Bucky was immediately like, "Gotta stop the car."
Like, I don't like that. It's like,
Yeah.
I want out.
Bucky was also like, I didn't get a name.
Yeah. And they were hitting on the racial tension stuff pretty hard in this. God damn it, Zeke. Zeke is having the Taco Bell or whatever going through.
Rip roaring over there.
Yeah.
Hey, this episode was such a blast.
This one was a real ripper.
Stop it, both of you.
My
Stop
ass wanted to join the conversation.
Your ass is not a part of this conversation. Why are we talking about your ass?
I wanted to ask you a question.
No, stop it. But yeah, Bucky, hits Falcon hard about the whole, you gave up the shield. Why did you do that? And is real pissed off at him over it, and essentially tags along for Falcon's mission to track down the Flag Smashers, which leads to their fight atop the trucks. And then, just as it seems like they're about to get killed, here comes John Walker to the rescue.
This show is very action packed.
Oh yeah. I'm liking it. I'm loving it. No. But all four of them essentially end up getting knocked off of the trucks, which are loaded up with supplies, including apparently COVID vaccine, because there were a bunch of freezer containers that were labeled "keep frozen" and then "vaccination transport." So apparently COVID is still a thing in the MCU.
Yeah, it's okay. It's the next virus that they have to fight. Next thing you know, we find out some Hydra who made actual COVID.
I wouldn't be surprised, actually. Some Hydra scientist deciding to do it. And Walker and Hoskins pick them up in essentially a Jeep and try to convince them to work together, but fortunately, Walker and Hoskins keep hitting the wrong buttons for Bucky and Falcon, and they both end up being like, "That's it, we're out of here. Stop the car," and they just walk the rest of the way. But when they're on their way back stateside, Falcon and Bucky start talking about the super soldiers thing, and it's like, we got to figure out how there's more of them, and that's when Bucky's like, there's somebody you need to meet. So they go to Baltimore, where they meet this guy named Isaiah Bradley, who the Winter Soldier fought back in the Korean War.
Yeah.
And it turns out that Isaiah is a super soldier, because he gets pissed off during the conversation, grabs some tuna, like tin can or something, chucks it at the wall, and it embeds in it. And Falcon's basically shocked to find out that there were that there was a black super soldier decades ago, and nobody told him. Nobody told Cap. And as Bucky explains, it's like, this guy has already been through enough, because after Isaiah got back from the war, they basically kept him in a lab for 30 years. Well, prison, technically, but they were doing all sorts of tests and stuff on him. And you have something there, Sam?
Oh, no, at first, when I first saw him, I'm like, that name sounds very familiar. I thought it might have been Patriot, which was a super, super secret soldier that they had, that not many people knew about, which was Patriot, which is not Isaiah Bradley. Isaiah Bradley is a more current character that
What's his character?
He took up the mantle of Captain America.
Oh!
He was literally, in the article I'm reading, the first black Captain America.
Well, there you go. But that sort of opens up a whole new can of worms if super soldiers have been a thing a lot longer than we think, and it's never been just Cap and sort of Bucky. But the argument that they have in the street after leaving Isaiah's house leads to the cops showing up and starting to try to de-escalate the situation, but specifically addressing Falcon about it.
Do you not know who this guy is?
Well, no, it's like, just show me your ID. He's like, he's,
It's like, I don't need to show you my damned ID.
And then finally one of the other cops basically, just sort of leans over and talks to him. The guy's like, oh my God, I'm sorry. I didn't realize, I didn't recognize. Yeah.
He's like, oh shit,
Yeah, he's like, I didn't recognize you without your goggles. But Bucky ends up getting arrested because he missed his court-mandated therapy session. Which leads to the awkward...
So, you're going in the cop car.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I mean, there was that. The irony of a situation where a black dude and a white dude are having a rather heated argument in an urban neighborhood, and then the white guy ends up getting
I just thought
arrested.
it was hilarious that the cops were just like, there.
Well,
I think it's because the house they were going to, someone might have called on them.
Maybe.
Or they're like, shit, there's a white guy in the neighborhood, something's going down.
Well, no, there were some white folks in that neighborhood too.
I didn't see any.
I saw a few, but it's very clearly like a poorer neighborhood. But at any rate,
They were also just a lot nicer, so
Yeah.
that would be another case.
probably. But then after John Walker pulls some strings and gets Bucky released from jail, but then his therapist shows up, pulls both of them into a joint session, couples therapy, and it was funny and awkward, and yeah, it's just Bucky finally explains as part of the whole thing why he gets so aggravated with Falcon, and that's because he gave up the shield.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he explained it's just sort of like, Cap believed in you, and if you gave it up, then that means that Cap was wrong about you, and if he was wrong about you, then maybe he was wrong about me.
Like, wrong about me being able to change of his programming and everything. So it makes him doubt himself as well.
I mean, it was a breakthrough, but both of them were just sort of like, you know what, we have more important things to deal with than this right here, so we're going to go deal with that, and then we'll just take a nice long separate vacations and never see each other again. But we find out also that Carly, the flag smasher, the stuff that they were stealing, they stole from the power broker. And the power broker is I've heard of him. I remember hearing about him in connection with some one-shot comic I read way back in the day. But the power broker, basically, they use a lot of like drugs and other processes to augment the strength of people and essentially unlock their powers, but usually by incurring like a debt and whatnot.
Of course,
because that's always how it goes with these sorts of people. But and so the Flag Smashers had stolen all of this stuff from the Power Broker, and as they're getting ready to slip away somewhere in Eastern Europe onto a plane, one of them suddenly gets an alert on their phone. It's just sort of like, oh shit, they're coming, the Power Broker's men. And so one of them stays behind to stall them and essentially sacrifice himself so the rest of them, including Carly, can get away.
I feel we're getting in for a lot of action each episode.
Oh yeah, I'm getting that same vibe. But at the end of all this, after the couples therapy session with Falcon and Bucky, they talk with Walker and Hoskins. And they're just sort of like, we're going to stand a better chance if we work together. But they basically, neither side really has any leads to go on. And when Falcon and Bucky basically point out, it's like, you guys have rules of engagement that you have to follow.
We're freelance.
We're freelance. We don't have those same restrictions.
They're like, all right, don't get in our way. I'm like, whoa, hey.
Yeah, Walker, who'd been very much like the smiling, image of like Captain America, the propaganda guy, from back in the World War II, to suddenly like, all right, stay out of my way.
I'm like, wow, nice heel turn.
Yeah, I don't know that I would necessarily call it heel turn. He was
good guy. Don't get in my way then.
No, he's being a very, very representative of America there. You do things my way or you stay the fuck out of my way. But, so with no other leads, Bucky and Falcon are just sort of like, well, what are we gonna do? And Bucky points out that when Isaiah had mentioned like Bucky's people, he'd been talking about Hydra, because Hydra had considered Isaiah one of the greatest threats to their organization back then. And there's only one person that they know of that knows all of Hydra's secrets.
Zemo.
Mm-hmm. And
the only one that's alive.
Yeah, the only like bad guy from most of these, from most of the Marvel movies that has survived. And the last sequence of the show we got was just sort of like establishing shots of the prison facility where
Xavier and Magneto having his chest. Wait, hold
on. I saw that. I got some vibes off of that too.
I'm wondering about the guy who was on the phone. There's got to be a reason why they did a close up on his face.
I don't know. I didn't recognize him off the top of my head, but he's clearly just somebody that works for the Power Broker. But yeah, we saw was it Jeremy Brule, the guy who played Zemo? We got a glimpse of him at the tail end of the episode. But from what I'd heard, because again, I still haven't actually seen any of the trailers, and I'm not planning to necessarily.
We said that same thing, and then Saturday or that same night, playing some YouTube videos, Falcon Winter Soldier trailer. Every YouTube break, I'm like, really? So I literally turn away.
Okay, well, from what I understand, Zemo is supposed to play a pretty significant role in the show, so.
That might be what Chris was saying was the one of the villains or something.
Yeah. So yeah, the Flag Smashers do seem to be trying, genuinely have like good intentions, although they're going about it through violent means and by stealing things from very bad people.
Yeah.
Because the next one we're calling is fans.
Well, to the guy that gave them a safe house. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure everywhere they've been, the brokers killed them.
I would not be surprised at all.
What was it that in Serenity, you try to find your Corey, leaving no place for him to lay?
Yeah. Zeke's referring to the operative in the Serenity movie, the Firefly movie. But so yeah, they're still keeping things going here. It's a 6-episode series, so it's not going to be super long. It's not going to be super long, but they are longer episodes than WandaVision's were. So I feel like we're still getting our money's worth.
And we may be actually doing a Black Widow viewing.
Yeah, we may actually take advantage of or spend the money on Disney Plus Premium to get Black Widow.
Mouthful.
Yeah. Disney Plus, if you will.
And a fistful of cash, but with as many people as we have here watching it all at once.
Exactly.
2 of us going to the theaters alone, ticket-wise, would be more than $30.
Exactly.
So
yeah, that's...
I can't complain after I spent, $40 in Willy's Wonderland?
Yeah. Well, that was well worth it.
Hey, that was viewed how many times? 3? 4?
3.
Yeah.
1, 2, so just the 3 times? It wasn't no extra one?
I watched it twice. Remember, I did my solo cast for it, and then we did the one with Rogue.
Yeah, that was the one I counted.
Okay.
Yeah,
But yeah, so it's
He got you good enough.
interesting series. Curious to see where this is all going to lead.
Oh yeah.
Part of me just feels it's gonna be like it's gonna be kind of cool to watch, but then you sit there at the end of it going, so what did I take out of this?
Well,
Yay, action! Yeah, kind
Yeah, I
of.
mean, it's like.
What was the takeaway?
The
Yeah.
funny thing is, this is coming from me. It's sitting there going, okay, there's a lot of action, not a lot of brain
Plot.
power
Yeah.
going on. So I'm hoping that they went, okay, here's WandaVision. Lots of brain, lots of teasers.
Making your brain twist itself in knots trying to figure out what's going on.
Okay, so we did that. Okay, now we're gonna try.
This is a little bit of each, though. So far, it's a little bit of each because we're trying to figure out the Flag Smashers. Now we know a little bit. Like they're giving us more information each episode rather than something little bit here and then 3 episodes later because it's such a shorter series.
It's shorter episodes, yeah.
But my thing is like I'm hoping that when they get to Loki, it's gonna be the right combination.
This is a pretty decent combination.
Yeah, they're
It's
leaning
not
they're
really
leaning
hard
more
on
into
brain
the
power yet.
they're leaning more into the action, but
And
they're
feelings is what they're hitting for with the racial tension and the PTSD.
yeah. They're hitting.
So that's what they're hitting
They're. I
right
like,
now.
and that's one of the great things I like about the Disney Plus shows is that they are able to address some of these themes that they couldn't really fit into a 2-hour movie. So, definitely still enjoying Falcon and Winter Soldier. Looking forward to seeing how Zemo is going to mess with Bucky's head.
Oh, we all know it's going to be an episode where Bucky goes back to being evil because he says one wrong word.
Yep.
And Bucky's now.
Because that's the thing. Zemo knows Bucky's trigger phrases. But yeah, so I think that'll about wrap it up unless
Sounds
anybody
about
has any last observations or questions. Zeke is over there just still farting up a storm.
So you asked him if there were questions. He had to ask your question.
No, he didn't. I heard no question there. He added nothing to the conversation except a foul
substance,
smell.
There was substance. It's kind of chewy over here.
I did not need to know that. Okay, we're finished now. For Sam and Zeke, I'm Jay, and we will see you next week.
Maybe.
Hopefully.
Thanks for listening to the Bored to Death Bingecast. Be sure to check out our library of past podcasts via CKCC Radio or via our YouTube channel, and give us a like and subscribe. We'll see you after our next binge.